tough the transferring of information, especially because now we have another layer of junior PPC layer. So now there's another, like, it's like that game of telephone. You just add another person to the line and they don't even deal with the client at all, which is by design. So they have really no idea on how the client is, like, personality wise, which is also a mistake. I think I want to have them like on the kickoff call with the client or whatever, just to hear the tone of voice, hear the kind of questions they're asking, like, because I think what happens is, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but when you don't know the person that is the client, yeah, you know the account. But I think there's two parts to it. There's knowing the account and there's knowing the client. Yes, the client can be a total jerk and the account can go well, but I think the transferring of that success to the client, or explaining it, or trying to think like, okay, well, what would this client want me to do, knowing how they are, knowing how they're thinking? Would they want me to be more conservative or more aggressive here? Do they want more volume here? Do they give me that inclination in the last conversation we had, or what, right? And if you have no real clue of who that person is or how they are, it can be tough, and you don't really know what kind of information they're looking for. Yes, you can try to pass that through and you can have somebody ask it, but I just think, I don't know, 15 minutes on a call with somebody kind of gives you a good feel for their personality. And a lot of times I wouldn't say you want to make a bunch of stereotypes or whatever, but you can kind of get a feel for it, right? As you're talking about the budget, as you're talking about, hey, what's our goal? And you hear the tonality, I think it conveys more than just the words, like in a text. So that's something I'm thinking about doing.
I agree with you. I think we don't do it, but I agree with you. And I think that's why the personality trait industry is there. When you learn how to talk to people and teach people based on their personalities, I think it's important. And I think you can frame how you talk to a client based on their personality. Like you mentioned a couple calls ago, this client's technical and wants technical answers. This guy's not technical at all. Like knowing that kind of stuff, I think is important. And then knowing if they're, high D, high energy, or high I versus someone that's super analytical, I think it's important. And I think, I think it's a wise thing. I haven't really thought of it like that before at the personality level, but I think it holds true. And I think it's,
because you're on the sales side, you see it, you and me see it, because we're Mark too. Yep. We all see it because we're talking to every client we get, basically, right? But the guys, two people behind you don't know who this person is. They just see an intake form with a name on it and a website. And to me, I always work better when I know who I'm working for. And again, it's just my personality, but I don't think it hurts for people to know people, right, on your team, because then it also makes you care about the person, right?
Yep.
And for me, I think I care more about people because I hear their voice. I see, like, man, we really want to grow the business. They're excited, and it kind of transfers that excitement to you when you're working on the campaign. But if you get an intake form, okay, let's use emojis then. This is how he was on the call. He had a big happy face. Right? We could use, but that's just not going to be the same. So I'm thinking, like, how do I really gel that into the people who are not in the front, but not, have them on every call and on emails. That is not the goal. It's just like maybe that beginning part, like maybe that, hey, you're going to be on the call, you're going to listen in or watching. Like, you don't have to say anything, you don't have to be on camera, but you're going to be on this call listening to what's happening. And I think that might be enough to kind of help make that happen, at least just once. It couldn't hurt. That's what I'm getting at. It couldn't hurt. So I don't know. I'll let you know how it goes.
The hardest, and that takes us back to the original discussion, is how do you create a checklist that says those sorts of nuanced things? That's really hard to do.
Yeah. Well, that's where our client success comes in. That's where we're taking notes and, kind of conveying what a client's concerns but we're talking about humans. Like, you tell me how to document a human, that'd be awesome. I don't know how to do it.
I think it comes down to what we were talking about early on, and it's having your checklist, but then training for strategy, and teaching strategy on why we do what we do, not just at a nuts and bolts level, but at a strategic level. And teaching them about the businesses that we operate in. So real estate investors have different expectations than junk removal businesses. A real estate investor average job size might be 20 grand, and the average junk job might be 350. So just teaching them a lead is not a lead is not a lead, and all things are not created equal, and just kind of giving them some insight, stuff that we take for granted because we've been around the block and we know. Someone that has not had lots of different niche experience just isn't going to have that insight. So I think training them and talking to them about that kind of stuff and building up their business knowledge, I think, is the key to it. Them knowing how businesses operate more than just what their job function is, I think, is important.
Yeah, we run into it's not even personalities, maybe categories. You have the white label, because we do a lot of white label, the agency client. You have the direct client who used to run their own Google ads. And
My least favorite sometimes.
yes, exactly. And then you have the, because we get that call. I had that call a couple of weeks ago. It's like the annual call from the client that used to do their own Google ads. And they're like, well, I know conversions are up 50% year over year, but, I'm like, well, but what? Why are we having this call exactly? This is your opportunity once a year.
I used to get 500 times more clicks. It's like, yeah, because you were running broad match with a single keyword.
Yeah, why did my
Exactly.
cost go up so high?
Yeah.
Why did my traffic drop so much? Because we're not clicking on, crazy search terms. And then the other one is the direct client who's never run AdWords and just wants to run their business.
My favorite
They're a lot of fun. Yeah.
They just let you do your job. I mean, if there's anything wrong with that, like, can you imagine calling a roofer and telling him where to put the nail and what shingle to put? Like, look, you hire the guy, let him do his job, obviously within reason. If he starts putting barrel tile and you got a shingle roof, we got a problem. But crap, man, you trust them to hire him. And for agencies, it's the same way. And if you lose that trust, it could be tough, right? You can't make a case if you've done something wrong with that person. But
well, we go back to the three key things that we target, which is, did we spend your budget? Did we get you leads at the cost per conversion that you wanted? And were they marketing qualified leads? And frankly, if we've done those things, then we can talk strategy and other things, but you came in and ordered something, we handed it to you. So, that's our fundamental task, or that's our fundamental responsibility, is to do that. A lot of the other stuff is fluff to a degree.